Hi Marcela, it's me, your favorite 50 Shades of Grey reader. I'm going to read Chapter 7 to you. Chapter 7 is interesting because Anastasia and Mrs. Robinson finally have an argument. And also there's a sex scene in here which I thought was pretty sexy. So I'll try to read it with feeling. I have to be honest with you, I've already had a beer, maybe a little beer and a quarter, so it might be a little more interesting than usual. In this chapter, I'm going to give you the update. It has at least 4 fucks and 6 shits, so that makes me happy. So I'm going to read Chapter 7 for you from 50 Shades of Grey, Book 2. Holy shit! Did I just do that? It must be the alcohol. I've had champagne plus 4 glasses of different wines. I glance over at Christian, who's busily applauding. Crap, he's going to be so angry. And we've been getting along so well. My subconscious has finally decided to make an appearance, and she's wearing her Edvard Munch, the scream face. Christian leans over to me, a large fake smile plastered across his face. He kisses my cheek, and then moves closer to whisper in my ear in a very cold, controlled manner. I don't know whether to worship you or spank the living shit out of you. Oh, I don't know what I want right now. I gaze up at him, blinking through the mask. I just wish I could read what's in his eyes. I'll take option 2, please, I whisper frantically as the applause dies down. His lips part as he inhales sharply. Oh, that chiseled mouth. I want it on me now. I ache for him. He gives me a radiant, sincere smile that leaves me breathless. Suffering, are you? We'll have to see what we can do about that, he murmurs as he runs his finger along my jaw. His touch resonates deep, deep inside me, where the ache has spawned and grown. I want to jump him right here and right now, but we sit back and watch the auction of the next lot. I can barely sit still. Christian drapes her arm around my shoulders, his thumb rhythmically stroking my back, sending delicious tingles down my spine. His free hand clasps mine, bringing it to his lips, then letting it rest on his lap. Slowly, so I don't realize his game until it's too late, he eases my hand up his leg and against his erection. I gasp and my eyes dart in panic around the table, but all eyes are fixed on the stage. Thank heavens for my mask. Taking full advantage, I carefully caress him, letting my fingers explore. Christian keeps his hand over mine, hiding my bold fingers, while his thumb skates softly over the nape of my neck. His mouth opens as he gasps softly, and it's his only reaction. But it means so much. He wants me. Everything south of my navel contracts. This is becoming unbearable. A week by Lake Adriana in Montana is the final lot for auction. Of course, Dr. and Mr. Gray have a house in Montana, and the bidding escalates rapidly, but I'm barely aware of it. I feel him growing beneath my fingers, and it makes me feel so powerful. Sold for $110,000, the MC declares victoriously. The whole room bursts into applause and reluctantly follow, as does Christian, ruining our fun. He turns to me and his lips twitch. Ready? He mouths over the cheering. Yes, I mouth back. Anna, Mia calls. It's time. What? No, not again. Time for what? The first dance auction. Come on. She stands and holds out her hand. I glance at Christian, who is, I think, scowling at Mia, and I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but it's laughter that wins. I succumb to a cathartic bubble of schoolgirl giggles, and we are thwarted once more by the tall, pink powerhouse that is Mia. Christian peers at me, and after a beat, the ghost of a smile is on his lips. The first dance will be with me, okay? And it won't be a dance on the floor, he murmurs lasciviously into my ear. My giggles subside as anticipation fans the flames of my need. Oh, yes! My inner goddess performs a perfect triple sow-cow on her ice skates. I look forward to it. I lean over and plant a soft, chaste kiss on his mouth. Glancing around, I realize that our fellow guests at the table are astonished. Of course, they've never seen Christian on a date before. He smiles broadly and he looks happy. Come on, Anna, Mia nags. Taking her outstretched hand, I follow her onto the stage, where 10 more young women have assembled, and I note with vague uneasiness that Lily is one of them. Gentlemen, the highlight of the evening, the MC booms over the babble of voices, the moment you've all been waiting for. These 12 lovely ladies have agreed to auction their first dance to the highest bidder. Oh no, I blush from head to toe. I hadn't realized what this meant. How humiliating. It's for a good cause, Mia hisses at me, sending my discomfort. Besides, Christian will win, she rolls her eyes. I can't imagine him letting anyone else outbid him. He hasn't taken his eyes off you all evening. Yes, focus on the good cause, and Christian is bound to win. Let's face it, he's not short of a dime or two. But it means spending more money on me. My subconscious snarls at me. But I don't want to dance with anyone else. I can't dance with anyone else. And it's not spending the money on me. He's donating it to charity. Like the $24,000 he's already spent. My subconscious narrows her eyes. Shit. I seem to have gotten away with my impulse bid. Why am I arguing with myself? Now, gentlemen, pray gather around, then take a good look at what could be yours for the first dance. 12 comely and compliant wenches. Jeez. I feel like I'm in a meat market. I watch horrified at least 20 men make their way to the stage area, Christian included, moving with easy grace between the tables and pausing to say a few hellos on the way. Once the bidders are assembled, the MC begins. Ladies and gentlemen, in the tradition of the masquerade, we shall maintain the mystery behind the mask and stick to first names only. First up, we have the lovely Jada. Jada is giggling like a schoolgirl. Maybe I won't be so out of place. She's dressed head to foot in navy taffeta with a matching mask. Two young men step forward expectantly. Lucky Jada. Jada speaks fluent Japanese, is a qualified fighter pilot, and an Olympic gymnast. The MC winks. Gentlemen, what am I bid? Jada gapes, astounded at the MC. Obviously, he's talking complete garbage. She grins shyly back at the two contenders. $1,000, one calls. Very quickly, the bidding escalates to $5,000. Going once, going twice, sold. The MC declares loudly, to the gentleman in the mask. And, of course, all the men are wearing masks, so they're all hoots of laughter, applause, and cheering. Jada beams at her purchaser and quickly exits the stage. See, this is fun, whispers Mia. I hope Christian wins, though. We won't want a brawl, she adds. Brawl? I answered, horrified. Oh, yes. He was very hot-headed when he was younger, she shudders. Christian? Brawling? Refined? Sophisticated? Christian? I can see it. The MC distracts me with his next introduction. A young woman in red with long jet black hair. Gentlemen, may I present the wonderful Mariah. What are we going to do with Mariah? She's an experienced matador, plays the cello to a concert standard, and she's a champion pole vaulter. What do you bid, gentlemen? What am I bid, please, for a dance with the delightful Mariah? Mariah glares at the MC, and someone yells very loudly, $3,000! It's a masked man with blonde hair and beard. There's one counter bid, but Mariah sells for $4,000. Kristen is watching me like a hawk. Brawler? Trevelyan Gray? Who would have known? How long ago? I asked Mia. She glances at me nonplussed. How long ago was Christian a brawler? Early teens. Drove my parents crazy, coming home with cut lips and black eyes. He was expelled from 2 schools. He inflicted some serious damage on his opponents. I gape at her. Hasn't he told you? She sighs. He got quite a bad rep among my friends. He was really persona non grata for a few years. But it stopped when he's about 15 or 16, she shrugs. Holy fuck. Another piece of the jigsaw falls into place. So what am I bid for the gorgeous Jill? $4,000, a deep voice calls on the left side. Jill squeals in delight. I stopped paying attention to the auction. So Christian was in that kind of trouble at school? Fighting? I wonder why. I stare at him. Lily is watching us closely. And now, allow me to introduce the beautiful Anna. Oh shit, that's me. I glance nervously at Mia, and she shoos me center stage. Fortunately, I don't fall over, but stand embarrassed as hell on display for everyone. When I look at Christian, he's smirking at me. The bastard. Beautiful Anna plays 6 musical instruments, speaks fluent Mandarin, and is keen on yoga. Well, gentlemen, before he can even finish his sentence, Christian interrupts, glaring at the MC through his mask. $10,000. I hear Lily's gasp to sleep behind me. Oh, fuck. 15. What? We all turn as one tall gentleman, impeccably dressed, standing to the left of the stage. I blink at 50. Shit, what will he make of this? But he's scratching his chin and giving the stranger an ironic smile. It's obvious Christian knows him. The stranger nods politely at Christian. Well, gentlemen, we have high rollers in the house this evening. The MC's excitement emanates through his harlequin mask as he turns to beam at Christian. This is a great show, but it's at my expense. I want to wail. 20, counters Christian quietly. The babble of the crowd has died. Everyone is staring at me, Christian, and Mr. Mysterious by the stage. 25, the stranger says. Could this be any more embarrassing? Christian stares at him impassively, but he's amused. All eyes are on Christian. What's he going to do? My heart is in my mouth. I feel sick. $100,000, he says, his voice ringing clear and loud through the tent. What the fuck? Lily hisses audibly behind me. and a general gasp of dismay and amusement ripples through the crowd. The stranger holds his hands up in defeat, laughing, and Christian smirks at him. From the corner of my eye, I can see Mia bouncing up and down with glee. $100,000 for the lovely Anna. Going once, going twice. The MC stares at the stranger, who shakes his head with mock regret and bows out chivalrously. Sold! The MC cries out triumphantly. In a deafening round of applause and cheering, Christian steps forward to take my hand and help me from the stage. He gazes at me with an amused grin as I make my way down, kisses the back of my hand, then tucks it into the crook of his arm and leads me away towards the tent's exit. Who was that? I ask. He gazes down at me. Someone you can meet later. Right now I want to show you something. We have about 30 minutes until the first dance auction finishes. Then we have to be back on the dance floor so I can enjoy the dance I've paid for. A very expensive dance, I muttered disapprovingly. I'm sure it'll be worth every cent. He smiles down wickedly. Oh, he has a glorious smile, and the ache is back, blossoming in my body. We're out on the lawn. I thought we'd be heading to the boathouse, but disappointingly we seem to be heading for the dance floor, where the big band is now setting up. There are at least 20 musicians and a few guests who are milling about, smoking, but since most of the action is back in the tent, we don't attract too much attention. Christian leads me to the rear of the house and opens a French window leading to a large, comfortable sitting room that I've never seen before. He walks through the deserted hall toward the sweeping staircase with its elegant polished wood balustrade. Taking my hand from the crook of his arm, he leads me up to the second floor and up another flight of stairs to the third. Opening a white door, he ushers me into one of the bedrooms. This was my room, he says quietly, standing by the door and locking it behind him. It's large, stark, and sparsely furnished. The walls are white, as is the furniture. A double bed, a desk and chair. Shelves crammed with books and lined with various trophies for kickboxing by the look of it. The walls are hung with movie posters, The Matrix, Fight Club, The Truman Show, and 2 framed posters featuring kickboxers. But what catches my eye is the white bulletin board above the desk, studded with a myriad photographs. Mariners' pennants and ticket stubs. It's a slice of young Christian. My eyes come back to the magnificent man, now standing in the center of the room. He looks at me darkly, brooding and sexy. I've never brought a girl in here, he murmurs. Never? I whisper. His head shakes. I swallow convulsively, and the ache that's been bothering me for the last couple of hours is roaring now, raw and wanting. Seeing him standing there on the royal blue carpet in that mask, it's beyond erotic. I want him now. Any way I can get him. I have to resist launching myself at him and ripping his clothes off. He waltzes over to me. We don't have long, Anastasia. And the way I'm feeling right now, this moment, we don't need long. Turn around. Let me get you out of that dress. I turn and stare at the door, grateful that he's locked it. Bending down, he whispers softly in my ear, "Keep the mask on." I groan as my body clenches in response, and he's not even touched me yet. He grasps the top of my dress, his fingers sliding against my skin. The touch reverberates through my body. In one smith move, he opens the zipper. Holding my dress, he helps me to step out of it, then turns and drapes it artfully over the back of a chair. Removing his jacket, he places it over my dress. He pauses and stares at me for a moment, drinking me in. I am in my basque and matching panties, and I revel in his sensuous gaze. "You know, Anastasia," he says softly as he stalks toward me, undoing his bow tie so it hangs on his neck on either side, then undoing the top 3 buttons of his shirt. "I was so mad when you bought the auction lot. All manner of ideas ran through my head. I had to remind myself that punishment is off the menu. But then you volunteered." He gazes down at me through his mask. "Why did you do that?" he whispers. "Volunteer? I don't know. Frustration? Too much alcohol? Worthy cause?" I mutter meekly, shrugging. Maybe to get his attention. Maybe to get your attention? I needed him then. I need him more now. The ache is worse, and I know he can soothe it, calm this roaring, salivating beast in me. His mouth presses into mine, and he slowly licks his upper lip. I want the tongue on me. I vowed to myself I would not spank you again, even if you begged. "Please," I beg. But then I realize you're probably very uncomfortable at the moment, and it's not something you're used to. He smirks knowingly at me. Arrogant bastard. But I don't care, because he's absolutely right. "Yes," I breathe. "So there might be a certain latitude. If I do this one thing, you will promise one thing to me. Anything. You will safe word. If you need to, and I will just make love to you, okay?" "Yes," I'm panting. I want his hands on me. He swallows, then takes my hand and moves towards the bed. Throwing the duvet aside, he sits down, grabs the pillow, and places it beside me. He gazes up at me, standing beside him, and suddenly he tugs hard on my hand so that I fall across his lap. He shifts slightly so that my body is resting on the bed. my chest on the pillow, my face to one side. Leaning over, he sweeps my hair off my shoulder and runs his fingers through the plume of feathers on my mask. Put your hands on your back, he murmurs. Oh. He removes his bow tie and uses it quickly to bind my wrist. My hands are tied behind my back, resting the small of my back. You really want this, Anastasia? I close my eyes. This is the first time since I met him that I really want this. I need it. Yes, I whisper. Why? He asks softly as he caresses my behind with his palm. I groan as soon as his hand makes contact with my skin. I don't know why. You tell me not to overthink. After a day today, arguing about the money, Layla, Mrs. Robinson, the dossier on me, the road map, the lavish party, the mask, the alcohol, the silver balls, the auction, I want this. Do I need a reason? No, baby, you don't, he says. I'm just trying to understand you. His left hand curls around my waist, holding me in place as his palm leaves my behind and lands hard just about the junction of my thighs. The pain connects directly with the ache in my belly. Oh, man, I moan. He hits me again in exactly the same place. I groan again. 2, he murmurs. We'll go with 12. Oh, my. This feels different than the last time. So carnal, so necessary. He caresses my behind with his long-fingered hands, and I'm helpless, trussed up and pressed into the mattress at his mercy, and of my own free will. He hits me again, slightly to the side, and again to the other side. Then he pauses as he slowly peels my panties down and pulls them off. He gently trails his palm across my behind again, before continuing my spanking, each stinging smack taking the edge off my need, or feeling it, I don't know. I surrender myself to the rhythm of the blows, absorbing each one, savoring each one. 12, his voice murmurs, low and harsh. He caresses my behind again, and trails his fingers down toward my sex, and slowly sinks 2 fingers inside me, moving them in a circle around and around and around, torturing me. I moan loudly as my body takes over, and I come, convulsing around his fingers. It's so intense, unexpected, and quick. That's right, baby, he murmurs appreciatively. He unties my wrist, keeping his fingers inside me as I lie panting and spent over him. I'm not finished with you yet, Anastasia, he says, and shifts without removing his fingers. He eases my knees onto the floor so that I'm now leaning over the bed. He kneels on the floor behind me and undoes his zipper. He slides his fingers out of me, and I can hear the familiar tear of a foil packet. Open your legs, he growls, and I comply. He strokes my behind and eases into me. This is going to be quick, baby, he murmurs, and grabbing my hips, he eases out, then slams into me. Ah! I cry, but the fullness is heavenly. He's hitting the bellyache square on, again and again, eradicating with it each sharp, sweet thrust. The feeling is mind-blowing, just what I need. I push back to meet him, thrust for thrust. Anna, no, he grunts, trying to steal me. But I want him too much, and I grind against him, matching him thrust for thrust. Anna, shit. He kisses me as he comes, and the tortured sound sets me off again, spiraling into a healing orgasm that goes on and wrings me out and leaves me spent and breathless. Christian bends and kisses my shoulder, and then pulls out of me. Placing his arm around me, he rests his head in the middle of my back, and we lie like this, both kneeling at the bedside. For what? Seconds? Minutes? Even as our breathing calms. My bellyache has disappeared, and all I feel is a soothing, satisfying serenity. Christian stirs and kisses my back. I believe you owe me a dance, Miss Steele, he murmurs. I respond, savoring the absence of achiness and basking in the afterglow. He sits back on his heels and pulls me off the bed into his lap. We don't have long. Come on. He kisses my hair and forces me to stand. I grumble, but sit back down on the bed to collect my panties from the floor and scoot them on. Lazily, I walk to the chair to retrieve my dress. I note with dispassionate interest that I did not remove my shoes during the illicit tryst. Christian is tying his bow tie, having finished straightening himself and the bed. As I slip my dress back on, I check out the photographs on the bulletin board. Christian, as a sullen teen, was gorgeous even then. With Elliot and Mia on the ski slopes, on his own in Paris, Arc de Triomphe serving as a giveaway to the location. In London, New York, the Grand Canyon, Sydney Opera House, even the Great Wall of China. Master Gray was well-traveled at a young age. There are ticket stubs to various concerts, U2, Metallica, Verve, Sheryl Crow, and the New York Philharmonic performing Prokofiev's Romeo and Juliet. What an eclectic mix. In the corner, there's a passport-sized photo of a young woman. It's in black and white. She looks familiar. but for the life of me I can't place her. Not Mrs. Robinson, thank heavens. Who is this? I ask. No one of consequence, he mutters as he slips on the jacket and straightens his bow tie. Shall I zip you up? Please. Then why is she on your bulletin board? An oversight on my part. How's my tie? He raises his chin like a small boy, and I grin and straighten it for him. Now it's perfect. Like you, he murmurs, and grabs me, kissing me passionately. Feeling better? Much. Thank you, Mr. Gray. The pleasure was all mine, Miss Steele. The guests are assembling on the dance floor. Christian grins at me. We've made it just in time, and he leads me onto the checkered floor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the first dance. Mr. and Dr. Gray, are you ready? Carrick nods in agreement, his arms around Grace. Ladies and gentlemen of the first dance auction, are you ready? We all nod in agreement. Me is with someone I don't recognize. I wonder what happened to Sean. Then shall we begin? Take it away, Sam. A young man strolls onto the stage amid warm applause, turns to the band behind him and snaps his fingers. The familiar strains of I've Got You Under My Skin fill the air. Christian smiles down at me, takes me in his arms, and starts to move. Oh, he dances so well, making it easy to follow. We grin at each other, like idiots, as he whirls me around the dance floor. I love this song, Christian murmurs, gazing down at me. Seems very fitting. He's no longer grinning, but serious. You're under my skin, too, I respond. Or you were in the bedroom. He purses his lips, but he's unable to hide his amusement. Miss Steele, he admonishes me. I had no idea you could be so crude. Mr. Gray, neither did I. I think it's all my recent experiences. They've been an education. For the both of us, Christian is serious again, and it could just be the two of us in the band. We were our own private bubble. As the song finishes, we both applaud. Sam, the singer, bows graciously and introduces his band. May I cut in? I recognize the man who bid on me at the auction. Christian grudgingly lets me go, but he's amused too. Be my guest. Anastasia, this is John Flynn. John, Anastasia. Shit. Christian grins and wanders off to one side of the dance floor. How do you do, Anastasia? Dr. Flynn says smoothly, and I realize he's British. Hello, I stutter. The band strikes up another song, and Dr. Flynn pulls me into his arms. He's much younger than I imagined, though I can't see his face. He's wearing a mask similar to Christian's. He's tall, but not as tall as Christian, and he doesn't move with Christian's easy grace. What do I say to him? Why is Christian so fucked up? Why did he bid on me? It's the only thing I want to ask him, but somehow that seems rude. I'm glad to finally meet you, Anastasia. Are you enjoying yourself, he asks. I whisper. Oh, I hope I'm not responsible for your change of heart. He gives me a brief, warm smile that puts me a little more at ease. Dr. Flynn, you're the shrink. You tell me. He grins. That's the problem, isn't it? The shrink bit. I giggled. I'm worried I might reveal so little of my self-conscious and intimidated. I really only want to ask you about Christian. He smiles. First, this is a party, so I'm not on duty. He whispers conspiratorially. And second, I really can't talk to you about Christian. Besides, he teases, we'd need until Christmas to do that. I gasped in shock. That's a doctor's joke, Anastasia. I flushed, embarrassed, and then feeling slightly resentful. He's making a joke at Christian's expense. You've just confirmed what I've been saying to Christian, that you're an expensive charlatan, I admonished him. Dr. Flynn snorts with laughter. You could be onto something there. You're British? Originally from London. How'd you find yourself here? Happy circumstance. You don't give much away, do you? There's not much to give away. I'm really a very dull person. That's very self-deprecating. It's a British trait, part of our national character. Oh. And I could accuse you of the same thing, Anastasia. That I'm a dull person too, Dr. Flynn? He snorts. No, Anastasia. That you don't give away much. There's not much to give away, I smile. I sincerely doubt that, he unexpectedly frowns. I flush, but the music finishes and Christian is once more by my side. Dr. Flynn releases me. It's been a pleasure to meet you, Anastasia. He gives me his warm smile again, and I feel that I've passed some kind of hidden test. John? Christian nods at him. Christian? Dr. Flynn returns his nod, turns on his heel, and disappears through the crowd. Christian pulls me in his arm for the next dance. He's much younger than I expected, I murmur to him, and terribly indiscreet. Christian cocks his head to one side. Indiscreet? Yes, he told me everything, I tease. Christian tenses. Well, in that case, I'll get your bag. I'm sure you want nothing more to do with me, he says softly. I stop. He didn't tell me anything, my voice fills with panic. Christian blinks before relief floods his face. He pulls me into his arms again. Then let's enjoy this dance. He beams down at me, reassuring me, and then spins me around. Why would he think I would leave? It makes no sense. We dance for 2 more numbers, and I realize I need the restroom. I won't be long. As I make my way to the powder room, I remember I have left my purse on the dinner table, so I head down to the tent to get it. When I enter, it's still lit, but quite deserted, except for a couple the other end who really ought to get a room. I reach for my bag. Anastasia? A soft voice startles me, and I turn to see a woman dressed in long, tight, black velvet gown. Her mask is unique. It covers her face to her nose, but also covers her hair. It's stunning, with elaborate gold filigree. I'm so glad you're on your own, she says softly. I've been wanting to talk to you all evening. I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. She pulls the mask from her face and releases her hair. Shit. It's Mrs. Robinson. I'm sorry I startled you. I gape at her. Holy cow, what the fuck does this woman want? I don't know what the social conventions are for meeting known child molesters. She's smiling sweetly and gesturing me to sit down at the table. And because I'm lacking any sphere of reference, I do as I'm asked, and out of stunned politeness, grateful that I'm still wearing my mask. I'll be brief, Anastasia. I know what you think of me. Christian's told me. I gaze at her impassively, giving nothing away. But I'm pleased that she knows. It saves me telling her. And she's cutting to the chase. Part of me is beyond intrigue as to what she could have to say. She pauses, glancing over my shoulder. Taylor is watching us. I peek around to see him scanning the tent by the doorway. Sawyer is with him. They are looking anywhere but at us. Look, we don't have long, she says hurriedly. It must be obvious to you that Christian is in love with you. I have never, ever seen him like this. She emphasizes the last word. What? Loves me? No. Why is she telling me? To reassure me? I don't understand. He won't tell you because he probably doesn't realize it himself, notwithstanding what I've said to him, but that's Christian. He's not very attuned to any positive feelings and emotion he may have. He dwells too far much on the negative, but then you probably work that out for yourself. He doesn't think he's worthy. I'm reeling. Christian loves me? He hasn't said it, and this woman has told me that's how he feels. How bizarre. 100 images dance through my head. The iPad, the gliding, flying to see me, all his actions, his possessiveness. $100,000 for a dance? Is this love? And hearing it from this woman, having her confirm it for me, is frankly unwelcome. I'd rather hear it from him. My heart constricts. He feels unworthy? Why? I've never seen him so happy, and it's obvious that you have feelings for him too. A brief smile flits across her lips. That's great, and I wish you both the best of everything. But I wanted to say, if you hurt him again, I will find you, lady, and it won't be pleasant when I do. She stares at me, ice-cold blue eyes boring into my skull, trying to get under my mask. Her threat is so astonishing, so off the wall, that an involuntary, disbelieving giggle escapes me. Of all things that she could say to me, this is the least expected. You think this is funny? Anastasia? She sputters in dismay. You didn't see him last Saturday. My face falls and darkens. The thought of Christian and Happy is not a palpable one to me. He must have gone to her. This idea makes me queasy. Why am I sitting here listening to this shit from her, of all people? I slowly rise and gaze at her intently. I am laughing at your audacity, Mrs. Lincoln. Christian and I have nothing to do with you. And if I do leave him, and you come looking for me, I'll be waiting. Don't doubt it. And maybe I'll give you a taste of your own medicine on behalf of the 15-year-old child you molested and probably fucked up even more than he already was. Her mouth falls open. Now, if you excuse me, I have better things to do than waste my time with you. I turn on my heel, adrenaline and anger coursing through my body, and stalk toward the entrance of the tent, where Taylor is just standing as Christian arrives, looking flustered and worried. There you are, he mutters, then frowns when he sees Elena. I stride past him, saying nothing, giving him the opportunity to make a choice, her or me. He makes the right choice. Anna, he calls. I stop and face him as he catches up with me. What's wrong? He gazes down at me, concern etched on his face. Why don't you ask your ex? I hiss acidically. His voice twists and his eyes frost. I'm asking you, he says, his voice soft, but with an undertone of something far more menacing. We glare at each other. Okay, I can see this will end in a fight, if I don't tell him. She's threatening to come after me if I hurt you again, probably with a whip. I snap at him. Relief flashes across his face, his mouth softening with humor. Surely the irony isn't lost on you, he says, and I can tell he's trying hard to stifle his amusement. This isn't funny, Christian. No, you're right, I'll talk to her. He adopts his serious face, though he's still suppressing his amusement. You will do no such thing. I cross my arms and my anger is spiking again. He blinks at me, just surprised by my outburst. Look, I know you're tied up with her financially. Forgive the pun. I stop. What am I asking him? To do? Give her up? Stop seeing her? Can I do that? I need the restroom. I glare at him, my mouth set in a grim line. He sighs and cocks his head to one side. Could he look any hotter? Is it the mask or just him? Please don't be mad. I didn't know she was here. She said she wasn't coming. His tone is placating, as if he's talking to a child. Reaching up, he rubs his thumb across my pouting bottom lip. Don't let Elena ruin our evening, please, Anastasia. She's really old news. Old being the operative word, I think, uncharitably, as he tips my chin up and grazes his lips against mine. I sigh in agreement, blinking up at him. He straightens and takes my elbow. I will accompany you to the powder room so you don't get interrupted again. He leads me across the lawn toward the luxurious temporary restrooms. Mia said that they had been delivered for the occasion, but I had no idea they came in deluxe versions. I'll wait here for you, baby, he murmurs. When I come out, my mood has moderated. I've decided not to let Mrs. Robinson blight my evening, because that's probably what she wants. Christian's on the phone some distance away, and out of earshot of a few people laughing and chatting nearby. As I get closer, I can hear. He's very terse. Why did you change your mind? I thought we'd agreed. Well, leave her alone. This is the first regular relationship I've had, and I don't want you jeopardizing it. Through some misplaced concern for me. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. I mean it, Elena. He pauses, listening. No, of course not. He frowns deeply as he says this. Glancing up, he sees me regarding him. I have to go. Good night. He presses the off button. I cock my head to one side and raise an eyebrow at him. Why is he phoning her? How's the old news? Cranky, he replies sardonically. Do you want to dance more, or would you just like to go? He glances at his watch. The fireworks start in 5 minutes. I love fireworks. We'll stay and watch them then. He puts his arm around me and pulls me close. Don't let her come between us, please. She cares about you, I mutter. Yes, and I her, as a friend. I think it's more than friendship to her. His brow furrows. Anastasia, Elaine and I, it's complicated. We have a shared history. But it's just that, history. As I've told you time and time again, she's a good friend. That's all. Please forget about her. He kisses my hair, and in the interest of not ruining our evening, I let it go. I'm just trying to understand. We wander hand in hand back to the dance floor. The band is still in full swing. Anastasia! I turn to find Carrick standing behind us. I'd wondered if you'd do me the honor of your next dance. Carrick holds his hand out to me. Christian shrugs and smiles, releasing my hand, and I let Carrick lead me onto the dance floor. Sam, the bandleader, launches in to come fly with me, as Carrick puts his arms around my waist and gently whirls me into the throng. I wanted to thank you for the generous contribution to our charity, Anna. From his tone, I suspect this is his roundabout way of asking me if I can afford it. Mr. Gray, call me Carrick, please, Anna. I'm delighted to be able to contribute. I unexpectedly came into some money, and I don't need it, and it's such a worthy cause. He smiles down at me, and I seize the opportunity for some innocent inquiries. Carpe diem, my subconscious hisses from behind her hand. Christian told me a little about his past, so I think it's appropriate to support your work. I add, hoping this might encourage Carrick to give me a small insight into the mystery that is his son. Carrick was surprised. Did he? That's unusual. You certainly have a very positive effect on him, Anastasia. I don't think I've ever seen him so buoyant. I flushed. Sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you. Well, in my limited experience, he's a very unusual man, I murmur. He is, Carrick agrees, still quietly. Christian's childhood sounds hideously traumatic from what he's told me. Carrick frowns, and I worry if I've overstepped the mark. My wife was the doctor on duty when the police brought him in. He was skin and bones and badly dehydrated. He wouldn't speak. Carrick frowns again, lost in the awful memory, despite the up-tempo music surrounding us. In fact, he didn't speak for nearly 2 years. It was playing the piano that eventually brought him out of himself. Oh, and Mia's arrival, of course. He smiles down at me fondly. He plays beautifully, and he's accomplished so much. You must be very proud of him. I sound distracted. Holy shit. Didn't speak for 2 years? Immensely so. He's very determined, very capable, very bright young man. But between you and me, Anastasia, it's seeing him like this evening, carefree, acting his age, that's a real thrill for both his mother and me. We were both commenting on that today, and I believe we have you to thank for that." I think I blushed to my roots. What am I supposed to say to this? He's always been such a loner. We never thought we'd see him with anyone. Whatever you're doing, please don't stop. We'd like to see him happy. He stopped suddenly as if he's overstepped his mark. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." I shake my head. "I'd like to see him happy too," I mutter, unsure of what else to say. "Well, I'm very glad you came this evening. It's been a real pleasure seeing the two of you together." As the final strains that come fly with me fade away, Carrick releases my knee and bows, and I curtsy, mirroring his civility. "That's enough dancing with an old man," Christian says as he's at my side. Carrick laughs. Less of the old son. I've been known to have my moments." Carrick winks at me playfully and saunters into the crowd. "I think my dad likes you," Christian mutters as he watches his father mingle with the crowd. "What's not to like?" I peek up at him shyly through my lashes. "Good point. Well made, Miss Steele." He pulls me into an embrace as the band starts to play. "It had to be you." "Dance with me," he whispers seductively. "With pleasure, Mr. Gray." I smile in response, and he sweeps me across the dance floor once more.